Oh, hi. Welcome to day two. It's April 19th, 2022. Day two. So one thing that I'm going to try to do every episode is have a lesson learned. Went live yesterday for the first time and talked for about 17 minutes. And as soon as I got done with my live, my cat says hey. As soon as I got done with my live, I was like, brevity. Brevity. That wasn't the right word. Brevity is not the word I should have used. Brevity, I was talking about being, having comedy involved in the show. And brevity is the concise and exact use of words or, in writing or in speech. So definitely didn't mean brevity. I meant levity. Um, and levity is, humor, especially in like when you're talking about a serious matter, bringing levity to serious matters. And that's what I do, not brevity. I actually ramble a little too much. So brevity is definitely in my vocabulary, but not something that I practice on a daily basis. So lesson learned from video one, levity, not brevity. So yeah, that's a good way to get started there. A little embarrassing, but that whole 17 minutes for me was embarrassing. I ended the stream and I don't know, it's something I just got to get used to. I'm definitely not used to talking in front of people as me. I've definitely done shows where I've acted and not been me. That's easier. But this is kind of tough getting comfortable with, but I will over time. Just trying to figure out exactly what to do and how to format this. It's going to be real loose, I think, for the first 100 days while I just blab in front of a computer and figure out what this is going to be. So look forward to that. It is kind of a look behind the scenes. I've always, my entire life, been somebody that likes to plan and have things organized before I show up and do something like this. And some might say that I even over prepare for things like this. I always feel like I'm somebody who's kind of watched and learned a lot, and it takes me a while to actually do. But when I do, I'm not somebody who just likes to do something like this without being prepared. So this has kind of been a struggle for me. And but I haven't I've forced myself not to prepare. Like today I didn't organize any notes, any post-its or anything. The only thing I really did was look up brevity and levity in Webster's so I can have the official definition. We're all learning. I told you I make mistakes. I did it in episode 1. So that said, I think today I want to kind of talk about some rough goals. One thing that I found about myself is that if I don't set goals or checkpoints for myself, I tend to string things out as long as I can. I wouldn't say I'm a procrastinator, but I like to procrastinate. And setting goals has been something that I found has helped me. Hasn't eliminated my want or I always procrastinate. So I have to set goals. And I have to be honest with myself about how realistic those goals are. And it's taken me about 40 years to get to the point that I am now where I can have a pretty good sense of how long it's going to take me to do something and or how long it ultimately will be before I have it done. I think I was going to take some time today and just kind of set some rough goals. We already set the goal yesterday of streaming 15 minutes at least every day for a year. That's a pretty aggressive goal. I don't think I've ever done anything every day for a year. Brush my teeth, maybe, but I think there's even been. I know I've done that for a year, but I've definitely missed some days sometimes. Who hasn't? take a shower. I've definitely gone a day without taking a shower. So, but all the common things, like there's little things. Eat. I've definitely probably eaten once a day. I can say that. Drank water. Sure. Yeah. But like as far as like a self improvement or a project, I've never done a daily project. So that's a pretty decent thing to take a bite of and chew off of for a year, to commit for a year. I've done a weekly podcast, and I've definitely worked towards a weekly project. Worked on a weekly project every day for a year, but I've never like set out to create content on a daily basis. And while this is live and not edited, it is content. So that is it's a little different for me. It's gonna take some work getting used to and figuring out the best way to handle this. So, like I said, the first 100 will probably just be me rambling, trying to figure out my shit. But once I do, we'll start to have a little formulation of a stream and a show. I say show with quotes because I don't really want to have like a scripted show, but I think having a format and a structure for consistency purposes is going to help on a lot of fronts. So I would like to set some loose guidelines, and while I do, I'm going to take some notes and write it down, because it's another thing about myself. If I don't write it down, take a digital note or a handwritten note, you gone. So, and I can't guarantee usually if I take the notes, it's still going to stay there, but I'm definitely lost if I don't write something down. So let's take some notes. I think the first thing I said was the 365 days of streaming. So we'll do that. What do I need? What do I feel that like I need right now, besides everything? I feel like I need a title for this project. I don't know what a title is going to look like. I don't know what. I don't even know what this is, so I don't know what to call it. It's definitely a work in progress. Maybe we call it a work in progress. But I want to set a goal to figure out what I'm calling this within the first 30 days. So we started on April 18th. So by May 18th, let's put that down there. May 18th, I will have a title. I will know what I'm calling this. Title. Work in progress is great because I'm kind of a work in progress always. We all are. But maybe we'll have a stream where we just talk through how I brainstorm and what I think through when I'm coming up with the title. There's a lot of different ways you can kind of figure that out. So maybe that could be a future stream. But yeah, I think having a title is going to be helpful, right? Because once you have a title, you can start to brand. You can start to do all the things. And I think that's part of it too. Maybe after I have this list of goals, maybe we have another stream tomorrow where we kind of organize those goals and prioritize those goals. This is what you're going to see. Like I said, this is stuff that I usually do behind the scenes. And then I come start a stream with a countdown and branded elements, and I already have the title. This is like the not so fancy part that a lot of people don't get to see. So, and I definitely don't like showcasing or putting out there, but that's what we're doing. That's what this is about. So you get to see this whole process. So May 18th, we'll have a title for whatever the hell this is going to be called. So title, a rough show or stream format. So like I said, it's going to be loose. We'll probably have segments that will interchange depending on the day and how I feel and what I'm doing for that stream. It'll be loose. One day we might just, like I said yesterday, we might just jump on and tell a story. Another day will be a tutorial, right? There's a lot of different things we could do. Maybe we just get on one day and sing happy birthday to somebody. I don't know. You could keep it loose, but you want to have like a structure and a format for a stream. So I would think so. Like, how do you intro people? How do you welcome people to your stream? How do you set the tone for what the theme of that day is? Things like that. So let's see. The goal for me, I think, would be to have all the elements I need to where I feel like I'm doing a show within 100 days. So maybe we work backwards from that. The May 18th, the title would fall definitely within 100 days. I don't know what 100 days from today would be, but I'll figure that out. I don't want to do that live on the stream, but let's just say 100 days for now. So 100 days, we'll have a rough format. And all the streams before those 100 days will be us just testing shit out and figuring out what we like, what we don't like, what works. And it doesn't have to be set in stone. Like I said, you can just define a template where you know how you're going to introduce people to the theme and what elements you want as part of your show. So, and I say show, it's going to be a stream. So stream show. I don't really want to have like a scripted show. I don't want any of this to be scripted, at least not in the beginning. I think what's going to be the best part of it, hopefully, if it goes like I want it to go, is just the rawness and the realness of it. And you all that are stumbling upon this right now are probably seeing content that will never be seen once I do figure out the show. Like I said, I usually like to like plan all that out and have that figured out before you go live, before I go live, before I do anything public facing. This is the behind the scenes, so enjoy it. It's not as entertaining as a lot of people hope for, but if you're really trying to do this, I think this is the content you want to see. It's how my brain works, so I've never kind of put that out there. Yeah, and I think while I go through this process of defining this for me, we'll be talking about projects that I am working on in the meantime, and how I work through those projects. Because I do believe that things that you work on outside of your own personal stuff is always an opportunity to learn from that to help with what you're doing for yourself. At least that's how I've kind of looked at my whole life. Everything I've been doing up to this point, I feel, is taught me lessons, helped me learn how to make content, what not to do. So that's going to be a continuation as we go through defining this too. So I'll invite you and show you into some of the stuff and the projects that I am working on currently. As I mentioned yesterday, I'm in a pretty big transition from broadcast space, television broadcast, and I'm transitioning into Web3 from a normie to an NFT fanatic. So that'll be interesting. It's a world that I just got into a couple months ago, and I don't know. It's I've always liked to challenge myself and figure out the new latest thing, and that seems to be a big thing right now. A lot of future technology involved in that I think is pretty interesting to learn. I've always been a fan of living on the bleeding edge of technology and doing stuff that's not necessarily understood or accepted across a wide audience, but like things that will be implemented and probably part of our lives in the future. I like to learn those things early. And this, NFT, blockchain, crypto, Web3, metaverse, all those terms that you're hearing every day that people are like, I don't care about that stuff. You're going to care about it. So I found 2 really cool projects that I'm working on now. So maybe I'll just show you bits and pieces of how I'm making content for that and take you along as I do that stuff and build my own thing. Who knows what the hell that'll be. But yeah, I think and all this I think is just for me to learn, right? This isn't what I'm going to be doing forever. But it gives you kind of a look into how I work, how I get things done, and who the hell I am, which I have always kind of wanted to put out there. And now I'm terrified that I'm actually putting out there because I'm like yesterday I put that live and I was like, that's out to the world. Like anybody can stumble across that and see me ramble on for 17 minutes about nothing. But that's what we're doing, and this is all working towards something that I know is going to be pretty special. So, welcome to the very beginning stages of it. All right, so we got 365 days of streaming, which will be tough. Look forward to that. The title by May 18th. 100 days. I want a rough format of the show, and maybe we'd do a stream or two, just kind of what's involved in a format. I like that idea. And then I think one of the last things I want to put down here is branded elements. So once I figure out a title and I have like a rough idea of what I want the show to look like, I'm going to need some branded elements. When you are building a brand or doing a show, doing a stream, you want not only to identify what your unique brand is, but what it looks like, what it sounds like, and the flow of your shows or streams, I would think. So let's think about some things that I would want branded elements of. Maybe like I think first and foremost, you want colors. Define what the colors are. Define what fonts you want to use, how you want text to show up across all the content you create for your brand. And it doesn't just have to be one font. It doesn't even have to be one color scheme. Depending on what your project is or what your brand is, it may be multiple. But just kind of defining what those elements are. Maybe something else. Like if you're doing a show, you probably want a countdown clock to welcome people in. Maybe like a minute countdown, and then some lower thirds graphics for those of you that aren't in TV. Lower thirds are like the nameplates that you see. Chris Carter, content creator, or Michael Jordan, NBA basketball player, former NBA basketball player. The informational graphics that you put on, whether it's a little slab that tells their name and who they are, or some bullet points about what they've done in their career. Just little lower thirds and graphics to use in your stream. You want to kind of do that. Maybe transitions, like I don't know if you watch the news or anything like that, how they transition from one thing and there's like wipes that whoosh, that come across the screen that are branded. You can have some of those for your show. Backdrops. So like if you're building an informational graphic, animated backgrounds that move, or static animated or static backgrounds that you just put text in front of. The backgrounds can also be used for like interviews. When we talk about in news, it's a 2-box interview where you have your box and the interviewee's box next to you. The backgrounds usually have like an animated background or something that's branded to let you know that it's that show. Or so backdrops and backgrounds I think would be a good one. A bug, not the little crawly things. When you're making a show or you're doing news, because I do have the news background, a bug is something that identifies the content. So it's kind of like a watermark of sorts that lets you know this is NBC News, this is Fox News. Like all the different news stations have like the little identifying bug. It's usually a square shape, but a little watermark of sorts in the corner of the screen to let you know. And it could literally look like a watermark, like a low opacity graphic that you just keep on the corner to kind of identify your content. So maybe a bug. And then I think that'll be some good ideas for branding elements. So I think that's good. That's a good start. And if I can have all that, so I think what would come first is a title, format. We can kind of do those in parallel. So I think over the next 100 days, we'll work on those 4 things: a title, a format, the streams themselves, which we're gonna do, and then branding elements, and figure out how to incorporate all that into a show. And you'll see me building that every day. You'll see me thinking through that, my thought process around that. That's what the next 100 days looks like. It won't look pretty. there's going to be this for a while. But once I have all that stuff, we can start to figure out what we want in a set. Once I define colors and fonts and maybe a logo is another. Ooh, that's always a tough one for me. So yeah, branded element logo, and usually that's the bug, right? Your logo is the bug. So those can be one and the same. I'm gonna stop rambling now because I've gone 20 minutes, which is 5 more than I promised that I would do every day, and got a lot in on this one. So I look forward to doing this over the next 98 days. Have a good one.